What is up, explorers? This is a brand new series. We are starting a new series called Beyond the Dark. Now in Beyond the Dark, we're gonna go over a bunch of different crazy unknown things, whether it's ghosts, we're gonna go ghost hunting, we're gonna go exploring in the dark. For the first time on this channel, we are gonna actually go and investigate. I'm a skeptic, I don't really believe in ghosts, but sometimes it's always a what if. Did this happen? Is that really? Does this actually exist? Do aliens exist? I don't know. But that's why we made this new channel, this new series within the Exploring with Josh channel, and it's called Beyond the Dark. Again, we're gonna go over legends and rumors and all these different things. And instead of just talking about it and having like a podcast or, just sitting at my computer screen and showing you pictures, I'm actually gonna go visit these places. Doesn't matter where it is, it could be all around the world. I'm gonna visit them and we're gonna go over things and document it. Now, I'm already good at documenting and exploring places around the world. So now this new series can bring, I think it's gonna do really well, because I'm excited. Now this video, this is a quick one. I kind of just threw this black sheet against my black wall and I'm gonna start it off like this. Don't exactly know why or how, because it's really sudden, it's quick, but I think it's gonna work. Beyond the Dark, let's start it. On the first episode of Beyond the Dark, we are going to go over a woman named Lizzie Borden. Now in Fall River, Massachusetts, on 92 2nd Street, on August 4th of 1892, she found her parents both brutally murdered by an axe murderer. Now the whole world thinks that she did it, aka Lizzie Borden, but there was no way of proving that. Now, when they died, there was no evidence of blood anywhere on her, or there was no blood drippings anywhere. They couldn't even find the murder weapon. So there was no evidence to convince Lizzie of the actual murder. But before we get into that, let's get into the story. Now again, on that day, she screamed loud at the top of her lungs when she noticed that her dad on the couch was brutally murdered. His eye was pretty much coming out of his socket at this point. And then they ran upstairs with his servant Maggie.
Okay, this is gruesome, guys. That's where the dad was killed.
And they checked on her mom, or what's her stepmom, but her stepmom was also brutally murdered, and she wasn't on the bed. It looks like she was actually toppled over on the floor.
So this is Lizzie's stepmom. John, you're standing where her stepmom died.
Dude. Just like not take the picture of the video. You gotta go over.
It's creepy, actually.
Yeah, because this is where it all happened.
Yeah, this is where she got hit 18 times or something. Oh my god, dude, look at this. I didn't even see this. That's the camera that was taken for her mom. And look at the blood. That's disgusting.
You know what's crazy?
What?
Second ever crime photo.
In the world.
In the world.
And the first one was Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, and this is the same floor looking at everything. My God.
Apparently, when they both were murdered, she was apparently sitting in another room just ironing the whole time, and she couldn't hear what was happening. Doesn't make any sense. I mean, again, we all think that Lizzie did it. I kind of think that Lizzie did it. And what was interesting is that when we rolled up to this house, we rolled up, mind you, it was like 1 p.m. we rolled up to this house in Fall River, and you can just tell it sticks out completely compared to all the other houses. This house was looks like a witch house, really dark and kind of like black, brown, and greeny. Nothing like any other house. And it's crazy because it's a bed and breakfast to top it all off. So I was really excited with John, let's go check this out. This is our first time filming a museum and actually going through a museum, I think in quite some time. But we were excited because we didn't get a private tour. We had to pay. It was $22 to get inside, but we still did it anyway. And it was really cool. Now, mind you, this place, you can actually spend the night there. And I want to spend the night. John wants to spend the night, but it was completely booked out. But we do have ghost equipment now, and again, this is the first episode of Beyond the Dark, and so we were like, well, let's just take it kind of slow, kind of find our structure, our style. How do we want to make this video happen? Because this is completely new to all of us, and we're trying to get more deeper and darker in the filmmaking. Now, this house was built in 1845, and we first walked into the front door, and you can just tell it was super old. Like, the walls were really thin. Walking in, you can hear the cracks, you know, walking into the first room, which was then the first room was the living room. And everything was kind of set up nice like a museum, which I kind of hate. That's why I like doing abandoned places, because everything's kind of just left the way it was, and whatever happens, happens, right? But it's still really cool to go through this museum and kind of like step my foot into a whole different realm than what I'm used to. Now, I guess that room, the first room was the living room. It was just used to like kind of like talk to guests and hang out and sit there pretty much. It wasn't used for anything else, and no one was really ever in there. They kind of just told us about the history about this place, and now you're gonna hear like the voice recordings of the girl who was our tour guide. I kind of kept all the audio of her saying everything about this place as we go on through the next building in the next room.
She felt very well and wanted to go to her room to lie down. She does just that. A little while later, Mr. Borden goes to his room, but he'd have to come to the mantel and grab the key. He went to his room, came back down, put the key back here in plain sight, and then sat down and take his nap. I know it sounds strange to have a key to a locked door in plain sight, but when we get into his bedroom, I will explain why this is here.
Now, the next room we walk into was their lunchroom, where they're all eating at the dinner table. And behind there, if you notice, there was like this autopsy looking, it's like a basket, but a huge basket. And they did the autopsies of both the bodies of Andrew, which was the dad, and Abby, which was the stepmom, right there. And they didn't do it on the table, but they did it on those like kind of looking baskets against the wall right there, which was pretty spooky how they did the autopsies just right there in the house. You can see the skulls there as well, and the skulls is the exact replica of Abby and Andrew, and how their skull looked after someone, we don't know whoever axed their parents. Now, into the next room, this is where it freaked me out. It was kind of mind-blowing, right? Because you go inside this room, and you're looking at the photo of Andrew, and you look behind you, and you can see the couch where he was laying on, where he died on. And you can see the axe right there that they placed. It was meant for, it's a prop, but it was actually pretty spooky. And I'm over there axing John with it, you know, just kind of joking around, playing around.
This is why I love going to these places and doing investigations. The fact that we have the picture of her dad's murder right here by the axe. And right here is where he died. It's freaky. John, are you scared?
Dude, I'm scared of anyone with the last name Borden at this point.
Anyone with the last name Borden, I'm staying away.
Please, stay away from me. We can't be friends.
Yeah, this place is pretty old and fancy. It was originally built in 1845. If you guys are wondering if I'm experiencing anything dark or creepy, not yet, but only at night I probably would. I definitely can see this place being very, very eerie for being so old, and then people dying from an axe murderer.
But that was like a kind of like an mind-blowing experience for me, because it's like, dang, like they died right there and the picture shows it. And that's what freaked me out a bit. I'm like, oh my God, this is kind of getting dark. And then that's when my mind started feeling like, oh, I'm kind of feeling eerie vibes, right? But that's when you get really skeptical. It's like, is this place actually haunted, or is it just your mind playing tricks on you? And I think that's what kind of like is going to that's what's going to set the line on my videos compared to others, is I'm a skeptic. So when we start ghost hunting and things, I'm going to be really into skeptic and saying, all right, that can't be real, there's no way, compared to other things, right? There's so much things I'm excited for in the future of this new series. So after we got done those rooms, we went upstairs. Now as we go upstairs, we're stepping on the old stairs. It's just cracking, crack, crack, crack. You know, we get upstairs, and the first room we walk into was actually Lizzie's old room. Now her old room was like my room's small, but her room was like smaller than even mine, with no windows. I guess she went on vacation to Europe, and when she came back home with a ton of souvenirs, her other sister gave her that room, which was right on the side of it. It was a bigger room for her, and that's how she switched rooms. And then there was a locked door, pretty much right on the side of Lizzie's room. And when you open it, it opens up to her parents' room. I don't know exactly why they locked the rooms like that.
The parents were here.
There's also this only other back stairway.
For the servants' quarter.
No, there's like the back door, but no one ever. It was like no one's allowed to come back here. That's what it was. So the only other way for like the sisters to get in here was from that room, but this door was always locked.
So do you know why it was always locked?
Oh, it was status, and he supposedly was a little creepy with the girls.
Oh.
Now behind Lizzie's room, that was her parents' room. And there was a door that led to the servants' rooms. And that was Maggie. And Maggie lived upstairs beyond that through a trap door. And we went upstairs, and mind you, that was the original trap door that you're gonna see. And we went up there, we touched it from 1845 when this house was built. And you can just see where she lived. Now there was like she's pretty much living in the roof, and it's cold up there. The house definitely ain't heated back in the day, so that kind of sucks. But that's where she lived, and she lived the longest. Now the whole Borden family died, and she lived like 10 plus years on more than everyone else in that whole family. And what's interesting is that the family of Maggie, the servant, released pictures to the museum, which I'm showing you right here, these two pictures. Those two pictures of her were actually released 2 years after, like actually maybe after the incident, or maybe it was like 20 years after, I don't know, but these are the first photos released by the family of her, of the servant Maggie, and we get to see this for us, and that was really cool as well. I think the whole museum and everything was really cool and spooky. And there was people on our tour that said they seen figures in the mirror. I didn't add that in the video because I didn't want to film the other people, but they looked pretty spooked out. They were from New Jersey, and they were scared. The girl, she was wearing this American Horror Story shirt and everything. She was a fan, and she looked in the mirror, and then she looked the other way, and she got super freaked out. Like she thought she actually seen ghost figures in that house. Now, there's a lot of investigations in this house all over YouTube. I'm gonna show a few of them. And it's just pretty much amping me up because I couldn't stay the night. But again, if this video gets a lot of thumbs up, you guys want me to try to evolve and go inside beyond the dark, be in the dark, all these investigations, I'm gonna do it. I wanna try it out. I just wanna see what's really good, what's out there. I've been always skeptic this whole time. We've been making so many videos in the most hauntedest places on earth, yet nothing ever happens. But is it because I just don't believe? And if I allow myself to believe, and use these ghost tools that I got and things, will things actually happen? And that's what I want to know. I want to get into this now, guys. For the first time, I'm open to it. I have a bunch of ideas that's going to be different from any other ghost hunter or investigation out there. Because I have the eyes and the tools to be a cinematic kind of artsy kind of video, as well as the story. I can make stories and be good at doing documentaries. So all in one, I'm pretty good at it. So I want to do my version of things. Like I want to go to New Orleans, and I want to go talk to people that do like voodoo witch stuff, satanic rituals, go to cults. I want to try to film as much as I can and get involved on like the outer layer. Like, I don't want to like hop in and get involved in the cults, but I want to film what other people are doing and just be there and do documentaries. That's what I'm talking about beyond the dark. I want to get and be a journalist. I'm in it. So, anyways, back into the story. Long story short, after we went to the servants up top of the room, the tour was over. And pretty much what we got out of this whole thing was they had no evidence of Lizzie Borden actually murdering their parents. They went to court, then they went to grand jury, and they were having so much trouble at trying to convict Lizzie of murder. And the only thing they actually had on Lizzie was that at the time of the murder, she was wearing a blue dress. And apparently, that blue dress, during the time the police came through that door, she was trying to burn her blue dress that she wore because she said there was a paint on it and she wanted to scrub it out, but she couldn't. So she wanted to burn it. And she used this kitchen oven to do that. Now, that was the most weirdest thing, but it gets even more weirder. Now, also, the local pharmacist, she went to the local pharmacist and she asked for prussic acid, and it was really poison. And she asked for it, and the doctor says, you're not getting that. You're not getting that. And that was the night of the murder, guys. So everyone's like, okay, so did she try getting acid to use that to kill her parents? And she couldn't, so that's why she used the axe. So this is what pretty much was strong evidence, but it wasn't enough to prove her guilty, and that was the only evidence they had, was those two. Now, the whole blue dress thing is still like, well, the evidence got tampered. They couldn't prove, did the dress actually have blood on it? Or was there paint on it? No one knew. But it was the same exact time that she asked her parents, and they had, again, no blood dripping anywhere, no this, no that. There was no evidence of even the murder weapon in general. So because you have to be proven guilty, they couldn't prove it, and that's how Lizzie got away with murder. That's what I think. I think that Lizzie murdered her family, but then I also think she paid someone in her family to murder their parents. And that's what I think as well. It's either those two. I think it's her uncle that murdered their family, or I think it's Lizzie who murdered her family. It's definitely freaky, it's scary, and I actually really enjoyed this kind of like murder mystery that was never actually solved to the end. And now this is where we also learn new things as we're going along, is that her whole family is buried in Oak Cemetery. It's like Oak Grove Cemetery, it's right near us. So we decided to go over there and go visit the gravestones. And what's crazy is I guess a lot of people go to the cemetery just to see Lizzie. And they have white arrows as soon as you drive in to go follow to their gravestone. No one else's, just white arrows to their gravestone. So we went to go visit them, and it was really spooky because the wind's rolling, the fog's coming in, it's rainy, the weather's dark, gloomy, pretty much Silent Hill vibes and the trees are orange to top it off, all the leaves are orange. So it was a perfect time. Now what I thought was interesting is that after she was released from trial, she was done with jail in Taunton, Mass. She went back because she was in there for like 2 nights at first when her parents were murdered. Now when she got out and after the whole court case was done, she ended up moving to the hills, they call it, like the most rich part of, I guess, her area. And she stayed there ever since. And she was worth pretty much $12 million at that time. And what was cool is she was so generous that she actually put her servants through college, their servants' kids through college, and donated a ton of money to like animal shelters and things like that. Now I'm thinking if a murderer, if she actually did murder her parents, why would she be so generous and nice and things like that? It's so hard. It's always like the what ifs, like did she actually do it or not? So I'm gonna leave you guys with this. In the comments below, do you guys think that Lizzie murdered her parents? Or do you think someone else did? Or was it an inside job? Or was it really just a random person who decided to murder the Borden family? Guys, this is the first episode of Beyond the Dark. I hope you guys enjoyed. Many more to come. I probably am going to be doing a different background. Maybe less talking, maybe more into the action. With this video was supposed to be more into the action and less talking. I wanted to do some kind of talk with a background, but mostly it's because I was on a private tour. I wasn't really allowed to film that much, so I had to keep it like this. Now when we start doing the ghost investigations, there's going to be about 20% of the video or 10% of kind of like talking behind of a camera about how I felt, and mostly I'm just going to go right into it. But with this video, it was about 50-50, I'd say. So again, this is the first episode of Beyond the Dark. I hope you guys enjoyed. Rise above, just get out to explore. Peace and thanks for watching.